You know, I had a script written, and I thought it was terrible. Okay, so after 160 races, 8 years, 20 seasons, this is crazy. We are live on the Automotive Sports Network for round one of the 2020B NASA RallyCross Challenge, Simracer Coin NASA RallyCross Challenge. Here in Norway, it's Josh Merz alongside me, Dylan Livingood, pioneers of the series. Dylan, it has been so long since we've done this. First time it's live. What do you think?
You know, I'm just giddy with excitement here. This is one of the things I've been looking forward to ever since, well, basically since we were high schoolers and we started this whole thing. And, you know, it's just great to be alongside with you and excited for some good racing tonight.
As we'll take a look here at our format, as we have 20 cars getting ready to take part. 4 heats, 6 laps apiece. You have to take the Joker once, and the top 2 will transfer through. Format has not changed in the last couple of seasons. That'll give us 2 LCQs. It's a C main and a B main. LCQ, consolation, whatever terms you would like to use. Those are 4 laps, 1 Joker, winner transfers. Final's going to be 10 laps, 10 cars, 2 Jokers, and the Simracer Coin NASA RallyCross Challenge as strong as ever as we're here in practice. About 10 minutes left to go. A couple silly season notes, and I know you didn't study your silly season, which is okay, but if you're just joining us, Matt Hartley, car number 1 this season, of course, he does not have his teammates of Daniel A. Chacon and Tard this week, and there's a lot of change on the Last Lap Motorsports squad we'll get to in just a moment. As we'll take a look currently at our practice results, Jake Robertson 35.692 ahead of the rest of the field by 0.4 of a second. Magnus Okenhaug, the man who was defeated last season in NASA Rallycross. As we have Johannes Vanen in 3rd place and Sabian Ragster in 4th, Sindre Silva in the 5th spot. Harberts, Hartley, Rafos, both the Kingsburys, Mikas, Moftaw, Tim Brokaw, one of the newer drivers, Derbyshire, Thomas Keane, Travis Seymour, and in 17th will be Adam Rosales. We have a couple cars registered for the session that aren't here, Brandon Lambert and Diane Feldman, as the American and Australians looking like they're having some issues, so we're not going to be able to have them compete today.
Yeah, and you know, Josh, these practice results, they're really shaking up kind of as we expected. Watch out for those Kingsburys, though. You know, they might be down there in the bottom of the field, but we've seen it to where in these last couple of seasons they've kind of been down in the pack as far as their practice and qualifying times, but man, do they show up during the race.
As I have my 3 monitors here in the commentary box and my iPad Pro, so I'm looking at the iPad and I have our spreadsheet of drivers just to fill you in. So Last Lap Motorsports, everyone might know the Kingsbury brothers, Matt and Ray. They have retained Brandon Lambert, and Jacob Harberts has moved from the Harbert Kelly law firm over to the factory squad. They run Subaru Imprezas now, as they have Accademia del Ultimo Giro, which is a lot like Toro Rosso and Red Bull Racing in F1. That team is going to have Flynn Lazier, Chad Mikas, Thomas Keane, and Marwan Moftaw, so basically a junior team, and it's a way for them to get away with having 8 drivers. Can you think about 8 drivers was our field size 1 year ago?
Yeah, and you know what's funny about that too is you talk about a junior team, and those really aren't junior level drivers that are filling that team right there. So, I mean, it's exciting just to see this big, huge field that we have here tonight, and that just means for great racing.
So the motorsport cars are back. Austin Derbyshire moves to the LRO racing team with John Dipple and Daniel McDonald, I think, stepping back to a part-time schedule. Philip Kraus, 4-time champion, second on the wins list. He is not here either. And a couple of other drivers, Rafos, Robertson, and Silva, all coming together for the Apex Racing Academy. Look out for those guys. But the main thing here, the main storyline, is, let me do some counting. It goes from cell 6 to 30. What is that? 24 cars running the Subaru out of like 35 entries. Should tell you something about that car.
Yeah, you know, Subaru has always been a great car. Towards the latter half of my last season, well, our last season there, I switched over to Subaru. It's a lot more comfortable for my driving style. But, you know, I mean, you got guys like the Kingsburys, they just insist on those Fords. It's going to be interesting to see how this season plays out. You go to the different tracks, different cars perform better on different surfaces, and a mix between dirt and asphalt. So Um, we'll see if any of the other manufacturers have anything to shake up that Subaru squad.
As I don't have a graphic for the schedule, as we'll tell you how hastily produced this was. An hour ago, one of our producers, Jake Hickson, was helping me assemble my new gaming computer. So we're missing, like, most of the graphics, but we're going to figure it out anyways. Schedule for the next couple of races: Daytona Long, Atlanta Short, Lucas Oil, Wild West, Sonoma, Phoenix, Iowa, Daytona Short, and Hell Short. So we're going to come back to Norway. Nonetheless, there is a new track on the service in October.
Yeah, it's a pretty good mix of tracks there. It's really good to see that, you know, regulations allow us to go to all these different places and just show them what we can offer here at the NASA Sim Racing Challenge.
Let me take a look. The format was supposed to be 5 laps for the consolation, and there was supposed to be mandatory number plates, but there has been a couple of things that didn't come to fruition yet, so we have about a week buffer.
Did you interview people after the race, Josh?
Yeah, and you know, in these weird times that we're having right now, you know, we kind of try to build in some flexibility for some of these drivers. So hopefully we can get down to the consistency and yeah, just yeah.
As like I mentioned, this series and this broadcast brought to you by Simracer Coin. It's the cryptocurrency made by Simracers for Simracers, so it's a very, very enticing, actually, platform. Reason why I mention this is because the top 3 in the championship get a payout at the end of the season. So we look, if I remember the numbers off the top of my head, I think it's 5,000 coin, 3,000 coin, and then 1,500 for the top 3. So something we were never able to do before when we were on NASCAR 2003 is do a payout for anybody, really, which is very exciting. As Harberts, Rosales, and Kingsbury here in this group, as Harberts goes on track.
As Josh, I just want to let you know I am back live. You know, doing this whole social distancing thing here in the ASN booth, washing our hands, keeping our distance, wearing masks, getting us through this tough time. There's always some bugs that happen when doing things remote.
I can tell you for sure I'm not wearing a mask, so I might get fined by the state of Indiana.
This is a business now.
So Jake Robertson's still faster than the rest of the field as we're getting closer and closer to finishing up our practice session here. 0.470 seconds, so basically half a second over Okenhaug. And it's interesting, we'll just have to see, because the way this session is split is we only get about 5 cars on track at once, so that's why we've really only been paying attention to Kingsbury, Harberts. Here's Jake Robertson, and then Adam Rosales. And I believe that Matt Hartley is in this group as well. So we really only get access to 5 cars. I don't know what group you can see. Let's see if we can switch it up here. As we can. Okay. We're learning every day. So Marwan Mafta on track in the 191. Remember, 2-time race winner. And what a livery for Magnus Okenhaug for the LRL boys. I didn't even see that car until just now.
Beautiful car there.
Derbyshire in the LRL car as well. Marwan Mafta, Tim Brokaw as well in the 903. As this is going to be, I am excited, and I know I say this every race, but this is truly because we don't have to act like we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen here.
I mean, well, it's always exciting here at the NASA Sim Racing Challenge, but yeah, I mean, since we're here live and, you know, I don't mean to break down the fourth wall too much because it's always an excitement when we go back through and watch our tape delayed footage and put out these broadcasts for you guys. But with this live coverage, we just don't know what to expect. So it's genuine excitement up here in the booth.
As Thomas Keane, Johannes Vanen, Sabian Ragster, and Jacob Rafos on track here. Rafos, actually the youngest driver, I believe. Don't quote me. I'm a stat guru, but I don't have the stats on this. I think Jacob Rafos is the youngest driver in NASA Rallycross. But I also think that Dylan Smith has that record from 2012. So I don't entirely remember.
And, you know, speaking about records, this could be the youngest winner that we could see. I mean, qualifying up there.
Qualifying's about to begin.
Oh, okay. Practicing up in the top 4. Let's see if he holds this through into our practice session, or into our qualifying here.
And the beauty of spectating the session, again, not to break the fourth wall, I can look at any single car that I want who's qualifying. So we'll take a look here. Jake Robertson in the 22. We know this kid's fast. From the United Kingdom, I believe 4 or 5 race wins last season. Came so close to winning that championship, but had those issues in the endurance rounds. We will not go back to Wild Horse, I don't believe this season, but Wild West, we remember that race. That was a very exciting race out in Sparks, Nevada. We will be returning to that track as well. So we'll take a look at Robertson here, warming up the tires in the Volkswagen Beetle. We have a little bit of mixture of cars, but I fully expect the Apex Racing cars to be out and away from the rest of the field. It's funny, and I know we talked about this a little earlier, people say that the Subaru is so much faster, but the World Championship guys, a lot of them use the Volkswagen or even the Ford.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting because we see a lot of people, you know, the NASA Sim Racing Challenge, it's all kind of about just being big and tough, and, you know, there's a lot of beating and banging. It's a little bit more of a gentleman's rule as far as World Championships are concerned, but here at NASA, you know, rubbing's racing. We like to see the excitement, fenders getting a little crumpled, and the Subarus really seem to do well under pressure when you're faced with drivers who are breathing down your neck. So that could be a little bit of it, but you know, some of the more finesse drivers like Robertson, see why the Volkswagen would suit them well.
As right now, taking a look at Matt Kingsbury in the 21, as we're trying to see who is currently fastest in our qualifying session. I don't think anyone has actually completed a lap. I lied. Sindre Silva just completes one, 37.682, and Jacob Rafos, 37.783. Sorry, Tim Brokaw, Chad Mikas, everyone's starting to roll in here at the top left of the screen. As Magnus Okenhaug 0.2 of a second faster than Silva. So those Subarus still a little bit faster than the Volkswagens.
You know, and kind of one of the things I noticed here is some of the lighter cars like the Volkswagen, they're running a little bit more wider line. The guys in the Subaru running a little bit tighter line. I know that's always kind of been a debate between both of us as to which driving method is better. Do you think that's going to come into a factor here? Do you think once everyone's on track, they're all going to kind of just follow the leader?
I mean, I know that I would do that a lot. Last season especially, I would find myself 10th down, and then when you're following a guy, say Robertson on screen here, you really kind of follow their line. I mean, it's happened in racing other than Rallycross. I ran, I think it was Road America in an F3 car and followed the guy off the track into the wall. Not my proudest moment, but you definitely just get fixated on following the guy ahead. Let's take a look as Robertson just reset his fastest lap, 36.738, Dylan, 7.5 tenths faster than Okenhaug. Can we just wrap it up now?
That's just a ridiculous time. I mean, yeah, let's declare a winner and qualify. No, I mean, we've seen it with you many times. You've blown our doors off in qualifying, and I've come back to give you a run for your money, or lots of other drivers have. So
I was gonna say, it's been 5 years since you did that.
All right. Yeah, thank you for that little stat there, Mr. Statistician, with your 3 monitors. But No, I mean, qualifying times are qualifying times. When it's out on the racetrack, it's all the chips are on the table and everyone's all in. So, I mean, we saw last season, Robertson really kind of have a militia that was after him and ended up shaking things up in the last hell round. So we'll see if it happens again today.
As on screen, we have Harberts in car number 80 as we ride on board that Subaru WRX in the final corner. We'll see where he comes out. He's currently 5th quickest. Crossing the start-finish line, 38.375 does not improve his time, and I think he's done with his laps, and he is.
You know, and one of the interesting things I'm just watching, you know, because, you know, I'm kind of a crew chief type driver. I've always been a little bit better at setting the cars up than I am driving it. These Subarus, they seem to have a lot more suspension travel, and the Volkswagens, they're a little bit more planted to the ground. We'll see how that takes into effect here as we go through these heat rounds.
And please notice that our graphics are a work in progress. We clearly don't have 15 privateers, as the SDK Gaming doesn't like to play nice when I import data, so I'll have to fix that for next week. Apologies in advance there. So as we get ready for heat number 1, Dylan, this is absolutely amazing. It looks as though Jake Robertson, Jacob Harberts, Marwan Moftah, Adam Rosales, Thomas Keane, and we will have a 6th car, I believe, in this heat race. It's Cole DeRozier making his return. First time since 2015B, I believe, for the American.
Yeah, so we'll see how this can shake out for all these drivers. A great stacked field here in heat number 1.
As Robertson on track, DeRozier on track as well. Granted, it's not the final, but it's our first live show on the Automotive Sports Network as we will get the lights and go green here in Norway for heat 1. Off the line, Harberts gets a great jump over Robertson. What a start for the Subaru into turn number 1. Jokering is Moftah on the first lap of the race. Remember, that is allowed. That rule was amended. Side by side into turn number 2. Harberts versus Robertson. Can he stick it on the outside? No, he can't. And Harberts leads into turn 3.
And what a great just muscle move there.
Through the corner, through the dirt, he hits the wall. Robertson tries to take the fight, side by side, up the hill, into the left-hand corner, into the final corner, contact between them, and off the track goes Robertson in the 22. So getting a little argy-bargy here in the first lap, here in Norway. Harberts leads over Robertson, Rosales, Keane, Moftah, DeRozier.
And that was just perfect execution there by Harberts. He knew exactly what he had to do. I mean, Jake versus Jake, going into that first lap there and executed perfectly.
Jokering was Harberts in the 80. That might have been a bad idea. He's going to be stuck behind his teammate Thomas Keane in car number 12 and Rosales in the 58. And I think he's giving up a huge amount of time, and this is allowing Robertson to cruise away. And that's something you don't want to do.
Yeah, and you know, it's always a frustrating position to be in. Sometimes it's like, hey man, you gotta let me go, but it's like, it's a team effort. You know, what are you talking about?
As Robertson has not jokered. Jokering in the back of the shot, it looked like Keane and Rosales as Harberts gets by them now. And Harberts has to push like there's no tomorrow. We've said that before on these delayed shows, but even on the live show, we don't know when Robertson's going to joker. And it's 4.5 seconds from Robertson to Harberts. So the Jake and Jake show, really, here in Heat 1.
You know, and that's the hardest thing about this discipline, too, is you always have to be mindful of that delta. And that's where the speed comes in. And that's what makes NASCAR Rallycross exciting, is just, you know, trying to anticipate those different joker moves and seeing who can, when they're separated, who can make those fast laps.
Is Cole DeRozier off track in the 23 in his Volkswagen, so he will not be participating in the rest of the heat race. It's a battle for third. Third doesn't really matter, though, between Moftah and Rosales in the 58. The Egyptian versus the Mexican, as we have a British driver and the American in second. 6.5 seconds from Robertson to Harberts, coming to the white flag here in Norway. Sorry, 2 laps to go now.
Yeah, Rosales really wanted a big move there on Marwan. Marwan showed why he's the veteran, kept us cool under pressure there.
several race wins for the Egyptian. Remember back, I believe, in 2018B, our first attempt here on the iRacing service. Harberts is slowly losing ground. It's nearly 7 seconds over Robertson to Harberts. We'll take a look at the delta if this graphic decides to work. As we're learning a little bit more and more about this program every day, but you can notice over the past 3 laps as Robertson into the wall in the Joker!
Oh, and both pushed really hard there.
It won't do anything though. As I thought it was going to result in Harberts benefiting from that, but it doesn't.
Yeah, like I was saying there, Josh, they both pushed really hard at the same time. I'm not sure if our ASN crew caught that, but Harberts kind of had there through this segment of the track a little bit of a rough line, which cost him some time. If he would have been able to get through there a little bit tighter, it would have he would have been able to capitalize.
Robertson winning Heat 1 here in Norway from the pole position, despite the fact that Harberts got a great run off the line. 3 points to Robertson, 2 points to Harberts. And that is why NASA Rallycross is so much fun.
And Josh, what a thriller there for the first round. I mean, we saw hard charge in first lap. We saw the strategy come into play, and we saw people eat their mistakes. I mean, it's all part of racing.
As we are getting ready for the second heat race here in Norway.
And Josh, one thing I noticed here is the clouds are starting to move in for the second heat. I don't know how this is going to affect track conditions for these guys in heat number 2.
As I thought that Diane Feldman was not going to be able to take part, but we do have her on track. So the second woman in the NASA Rallycross history to race, the first one we'd rather not mention. It was kind of laughable. As we get ready for heat number 2, Okenhaug, Kingsbury, Feldman, and Alex Moss. Green flag. Off the line. No real jump. Matt Kingsbury pushes over into his brother into turn number 1 as Bray's going to take to the Joker. So is Alex Moss. That is totally a Kingsbury move into turn number 1.
You know, I was going to say something there, but I mean, it just said itself.
As Kingsbury battling with Okenhaug in the 26. Again, a beautiful livery for the Norwegian at his home race, and Matt Kingsbury into the wall.
That's not going to hurt him too much. A little tank slap, going to get that good push off the corner, distance himself from Magnus there a little bit, but Magnus, man, is he fast. He wants that position.
And he tries to take the lead as we end the first lap. I think at the line it was Kingsbury. As Matt will Joker in the 21 along with Diane Feldman in car number 84. Ray gets by his brother, and knowing both of them, Ray's going to be laughing at his brother as he passes him through the Joker.
Here we go again.
As Magnus leading by about 3 seconds over Ray, over Matt, over Feldman, and Alex Moss.
You know, and with those two brothers, there's never any social distancing involved. Whenever there's a hard race that they both ran and they're in the same one, they're the first person to let the other know. I mean, it's almost been like us historically. We race like brothers, and the brothers are. Damn! Oh, look at this merge.
As we were riding on board, we weren't able to catch it. Let me see if I can get a camera from high above. Well, yes, Okenhaug still holds the lead over Ray Kingsbury. Ahead of Matt, side by side of the brothers through turn 3, as Ray nearly hits the wall in the 25. And now Okenhaug's going to have to push. Matt gives his brother a little bump draft going through the dirt section there in the final corner.
Man, this is just so much fun to watch. I mean, Kingsbury is trying to track down Magnus. They're like, go, we gotta get him. They're obviously on the same page. They have the same strategy as far as who they want to beat.
There's Okenhaug leading, but you gotta think, if you can't catch Magnus, you want to be the brother to make it into the final, because only the top 2 will transfer out of these heat races. And that's got to be taunting these two. As look at this side by side in turn 3, up the hill to turn 4, as Ray has the advantage over Matt at the moment.
Lots of contact there.
Final corner. We're taking 2 laps to go. Magnus loves this. 2.5 ahead of Ray Kingsbury. And Matt Kingsbury a further half-second behind. The brothers are going to be battling for the transfer spot unless Magnus falters, but you know at his home track, he's not going to do that.
You know, and we talk about the Magnus effect. It's definitely coming into effect here.
As Feldman and Alex Moss 4th and 5th as those two having their own little battle. Oakenhound still a second and a half ahead of these two, and the track's starting to grip in. And something that I noticed, and I've mentioned this before on the tape delayed shows, when the track ruts in, it gets very treacherous. White flag for Magnus. Very treacherous. I don't know if you noticed this, but it's almost like you cross-rut the car. If you put a wheel on the asphalt, well, gripped up asphalt, gripped up dirt, and one tire on the curb, you're going to spin it, more than likely.
Yeah, and you know, we compare a lot of things to Supercross, and that's a great point that you make, is it almost is like a rutted racetrack. Very much like an F1 line too, a little bit of a mix between both of those since we have two different surface types. You see those guys that get outside of that racing groove and it just messes the car's balance up.
Final corner, Oakenhound will transfer, winning heat number 2 ahead of Ray Kingsbury. Matt will settle for 3rd. Diane Feldman holds off Alex Moss. So those
yeah,
two
that was
drivers.
a great battle for last there coming out of the final corner.
Sometimes you definitely get a fun battle, even if it is for last.
You know, and that's what it's all about, too. I mean, you know, when I've been on top of my game, sometimes it's not quite so much fun to be able to race somebody who you're uber competitive with and stuff. But when you're able to kind of let those pressures subside and, you know, you're just running somebody for fun, that makes all the difference.
Heat 3, green flag, Silva, Vanen. We have Hartley, Tim Brokaw, and Brandon Lambert. Defending champion Hartley will joker immediately on the start. Brandon Lambert is registered for the session, but he actually had a hospital scare earlier on in the day, so the Alabama driver, inaugural champion of our series, will not be participating tonight. So Silva holds the lead over car number 7 of Johannes Vanen, as we have the 903 of Tim Brokaw as well. So we'll have to take a look at our defending champion Matt Hartley and see what will happen as we end the first lap.
Yeah, great battle here for second.
As Brokaw will
a little bit
joker.
of strategy mixed up here.
Brokaw jokers in the 903. As Hartley gets up to 3rd. As we look for Sindre Silva.
Brokaw definitely flubbed his joker lap there, missed his opportunity, hit the wall a little bit.
Right on board car number 7 of Johannes Vanen. 2.5 seconds from Silva to him, and they have not jokered. And these guys, I believe, as I should have done my homework, but you can make fun of me. These guys competing for to qualify for the World Championship. So these guys know each other, and they know how they drive, and they know how that goes. But it's interesting that Silva holds this advantage.
You know, and Josh, we both have experience racing people from other series. How does that kind of, you know, play into your head when you see somebody who you fight so tough in one series, and then you come over here to the NASCAR RallyCross Challenge and have to fight them again?
I was honestly, it was kind of when I raced, I didn't race Connor Parisi in any other series, but I knew of what he did. And Connor Parisi is one tough customer. He's stupid fast in the rally cars. But the fact of the matter that some of these drivers are so capable, you put them into any car and they can win. They jump into these cars and you're like, well, I don't know if I should feel challenged or scared. But it's...
I know, it's like a Swiss Army knife and all your tools are hidden until they actually pull them out.
2 laps to go for Silva here in heat number 3. He's going to joker in car number 63. Vanen will follow him in the 7, so no strategy, but here's Hartley, defending champion, through the joker, and he's going to be battling with Vanen, but I don't know if he'll get it. Into the corner, he gives him a nudge.
Man, that was just like hitting a brick wall there for Hartley.
Hartley's going to send it into turn 3. He nudges him again. completely legal, I would say, as Vonnen hits the wall. And that's why Matt Hartley is driving car number 1. You can't take any prisoners. You have to just drive.
Yeah, just a great move there by Hartley, flexing on why he deserves to have that spot with that number 1 on the side.
As another Supercross-like reference, he gets nudged by the 7 of Vonnen.
A little bit of good old-fashioned payback there. That's going to have some implications.
As we'll have to see. Of course, no penalties during the race, and we won't speculate, but Hartley's mad. Oh boy, Hartley's mad.
Yeah, and you can just see the frustration boiling over there in the number 1 machine.
As Sindre Silva will join his teammate Jake Robertson as a heat race winner here in Norway, as Johannes Vonnen really showed Matt Hartley that you can't mess around with him, the Finnish driver. And Matt Hartley, car number 1, will have to go to the LCQ. And I was going to mention that Supercross reference, as the points leader coming in this case defending champion, will hold a red number coming in. So that's why Hartley has that red number on top of car number 1.
So it'll be interesting to see who can knock that red off his number plate here after round 1.
Heat 4, our final heat. Jacob Rafos, Sabian Ragster, Austin Derbyshire, Chad Mikas, and Travis Seymour. Let me tell you, you might have retired, but Travis Seymour has replaced you in the nicest way possible, and he knows this. He's the meme of NASA Rallycross, and it's amazing.
And you know what's funny is Travis and Austin, they're some of my greatest friends. We had so many good battles there, and it was just fun to chop it up with them in the paddock and joke with them, and just good set of guys right here.
As we're waiting for Ragster in that Volkswagen to jump on track, there he is, running a livery inspired by the Camo Bull from Red Bull Racing. As we get ready for the lights here in Norway for Heat 4. Green flag, Rafos, a great jump off the line in car number 13. Remember, that number might not be lucky for some, but it's certainly lucky in NASA Rallycross. If you remember, fellow Norwegian Tanner Smith as Ragster second, third Mikas, fourth is Derbyshire, fifth is Seymour. They both joker at the first opportunity.
Yeah, and Chad, another one of our great friends here, trying to see what he can do. Beautiful livery on that with that purple scheme.
As we round the corner, as Jacob Rafos trying to have Apex sweep their heat races with the 3 cars that they have. But if Ragster has anything to say about it, we expect one of our new drivers. I haven't been too familiar with him, but it's certainly showing that he knows what he's doing in car number 91. Also another number that is won in NASA Rallycross, fun fact.
As we won't mention that name either, but...
Well, there's 2 names. One of them, one of them is Brendan Berg. That's okay. As the the other name, yes, we don't mention.
And I promise we don't hold grudges here at the NASA compound.
As we
at all.
Begin lap number 3 for Rafos. Mikas is going to be battling with Ragster. Mikas jokers in car number 9.
Yeah, and Chad with good execution there on that joker. That's definitely going to set him up for some success here. Going to merge into a little bit of traffic, though, in between the 2 hoodlums.
As Travis Seymour in 5th. You know, he reminds me of you because always he gives Mikas a nudge there, living up to his hoodlum name into the wall. And it's funny, it says, I'm going to wreck it. His logo on the NASA site is Wreck It Ralph. I kid you not.
Oh man, and so we see some riffraff going on here in the back of the field, but I mean, these guys probably all smiles through all of this.
As we bring in our longtime friend into the commentary box, Victor Valley. I'm not sure if you're fully connected to our socially distant commentary box, but we'll hopefully get you connected soon as we are here in heat number 4. If you're just joining our coverage on the Automotive Sports Network presented by Simracer Coin. Josh Mertz, Dylan Livingood, Victor Valley in the commentary box for round 1 of the 2020B season, as Jacob Rafos will take 2 laps to go.
You know, these guys just kind of, I mean, they set some air time going over that start-finish line. That's That's got to be a tricky one, because after you squirt over that little bit of a hop, skip, and a jump, you got to figure out whether you're going to the Joker or if you're gonna send it around the main track.
As Ragster holding second by a considerable margin, by 3.5 seconds if that's correct, over Derbyshire, as Micah's not having the greatest time either in car number 9. But Jacob Rafos rounding the final corner, and the young Norwegian will win Heat 4. Actually, sorry, take the white flag. I did a Marty Reed moment there. Please don't fire me. Please don't fire me. He
You're
jokers in the 13, jokering is Ragster. Where is Derbyshire? Derbyshire has not jokered, and he's going to pip Ragster, it looks like, exiting the joker. The Canadian to second.
Oh man, that could have ended up a lot worse, but I mean, that just shows you the amount of respect that these drivers have for each other.
The Canadian goes to second. To the inside goes Ragster, nearly making contact on the curb. They hit, and Ragster into the tires.
Oh, tough break there. I mean, just fighting for the second spot there, and sure there was, you know, no foul intent, but
as Rafos wins Heat 4, Derbyshire, for real this time he wins Heat 4, as Derbyshire comes home in second. Seymour, Micus, and Ragster, our running order.
you know, and Josh, some pretty clean racing here, but you reckon it might be a little bit busy there in the NASA hauler?
I'd have to say so. I mean, that's good that I don't really deal with that anymore. So we're getting ready
Right.
for the C main. And this race is ridiculous. And I say that because let's see how many cars there are battling for one place. One. I have to ask you, because you were in a lot of LCQs, and that's nothing against you. So you get ready for the start. Give me 1 second before I finish that point.
Green flag.
Green flag in Norway. I'll finish your point in a second. Hartley in the middle. There's, it looks like Brokaw battling with Moftah. Jokering is Morales. One car off the track. I missed who it was. I think it was Thomas Keane. As Hartley leads us into turn 2. Being someone that has raced so many LCQs, especially with this new format, what's the thought process when you go into a race and you know you have to win it to transfer?
I mean, you know, every C main is the same, every LCQ is the same, different. Not one is the same. You have a different thought process going into each one. It really depends on how the heat races went. Sometimes you get dumped early on, and it's just you don't have the laps underneath your belt to be able to, as people are sending it here into this joke.
As hello, Victor.
Yeah, and sorry to break in there, but you know, obviously I have a lot of experience myself too. I think the best thing is just to survive, unfortunately, you know, especially in the LCQ events like this, is just keep it on the track. And I mean, that was always my philosophy, just always keep it on track.
Let's take
there's been a lot of times we've had drivers who are not rightfully in the LCQ, and you know, so it's just a chance for them to walk some more laps, be able to collect that easy victory. And some of these guys, it's a dog-eat-dog battle. So
as Tim Brokaw jokers in the 903, defending champion Matt Hartley in second, but second's not good enough. I don't think Moftah's jokered, and I just realized we went through 5 races and I didn't check this joker box, and the joker box works, everyone. So on your screen on the timing tower, if they haven't jokered, it will be gray. Thank you, Jake Robertson, for fixing that. So Marwan Moftah has not jokered, nor has Brokaw until this lap. So white flag, gentlemen, and Moftah has to joker. It's 2.7 seconds to Hartley. Let's see what happens.
you know, and it's really hard because each lap counts here with this shortened LCQ from the heats in the final.
As Hartley's gonna beat Moftah. So the Australian ahead of the Egyptian, but we know Moftah doesn't give up. Will he try anything on our defending champion? As Hartley, 1 race win last season in Atlanta. He survived that calamity. Moftah got a better run off of turn 4 up the hill.
Oh, dig, boy, dig. Here comes Marwan.
Marwan tries it. He ran it wide. Final corner. And our defending champion will seed 9th here in Norway. Hartley wins the C main ahead of Moftah, Rosales, Brokaw, and Keane. Remember these drivers, Moftah through Keane, will seed in the odd positions in our classification, 11th, 13th, 15th, and 17th. Gentlemen, wow.
Yeah, what a perfect example of just what we were talking about there. You know, some of the guys who they know it's an easy win, but whenever you throw that second competitor in there, I mean, it's just you never know what's going to happen. And we saw Marwan just go for it, and a lot of respect there by backing out and just conceding defeat.
Yeah, absolutely. As I say, especially with the Delta there, it came down to the very end there, and I think Marwan definitely showed a lot of respect in what he did there.
7 cars for the B main. Kingsbury, Seymour, Feldman, Micus, Moss, Ragster, DeRozier, green flag. Seymour gets a terrible start. Into Micus, nearly turns him around. Into turn number 1, who will Joker Diane Feldman? Does. Moss tries. Into Ragster in the 91 off the track. Tough break for one of our newer drivers here, as Kingsbury leads us out of turn 2.
You know, in these starts here, they're the most chaotic.
Side by side as Kingsbury hits the curb, he gets hit by his teammate, by Micus. So he gripped the curb there, and the 21, it looks like something might be broken on that car. We'll have to follow up. But Travis Seymour loves this. He's in the lead of the LCQ.
Dig, boy, dig!
And Victor, I have to throw it to you. I have to ask, because I'll push aside the issues that we had. But in an LCQ, what I know I asked this, but really, what goes through your mind if you know you're not a fast guy, but like someone like Kingsbury just threw it off the track?
Again, just survive. Keep it on the track, because the minute they go off the track, their psyche has completely changed. Now they have to push. Now they have to try to get it back to the leader. So just keep it on the track and just control the pace of the race here.
As Kingsbury all over the track in car 21. Seymour loves this. Crossed flags in the B main for the American.
Did you see Kingsbury throw those? Do you see Kingsbury throw those cones like 40 feet in front of him?
As Kingsbury gets hit by Seymour! He gets sent in turn 2! And here's Feldman. She tries to take the fight, gets hit by Micus. And Alex Moss is sneaking into the occasion now.
And I believe Kingsbury has yet to take the Joker here, so Moss does have a shot at this.
As it's 2.5 seconds, and no one knows who is going to win this LCQ. White flag for Matt Kingsbury. He has the Joker in the 21. Where is Alex Moss? Moss does not. Through turn 1, he takes the spot.
That was nice and tidy by Moss there.
Oh, Seymour is going to be really upset because of what happened to him.
And Moss just has to keep it nice and tidy the rest of the lap, and he's got this one.
Never did push so hard. Look at Chad go.
Side by side with Seymour. This will be for like 16th place. And contact between them. Alex Moss wins the B main in a chaotic race here in Norway. Ahead of Matt Kingsbury, Chad Micus, Seymour, Ragster, Feldman, and DeRozier. Wow, gentlemen, what a race.
Yeah, that was just a thriller of a race that we just witnessed. I mean, you know, and that's the other thing too. That's the flip side. If you know that you're not going to be transferring into the final, you're fighting for all those points. So, you know, that could be a difference between making 1 point or no points, especially in these big fields that we've been having.
And that was absolutely,
once we get it here. Give me just a moment.
Absolutely textbook by Alex Moss. I don't think he was the fastest driver in that heat, but as I said before, all you have to do is survive. He kept his nose clean. He kept out that trouble that Kingsbury, Seymour, and Micus had, and he was able to take the win in the B main and transfer to the final.
Let's see if I can pull it up here on our monitor to take a look. Let's see. Here we go. So Kingsbury comes right in front of Seymour. Kingsbury pins the throttle, and I think the real bad thing was Feldman just came into Seymour, just smashed right into him, and Micus had nowhere to go. So that's really what caused that here.
Yeah, a little bit of a train wreck, you know, and once that Once you get that momentum, you don't really want to break it, especially in these cars. And sometimes when you break it, it's the car in front of you.
Let me see if I can bring in our B main winner to see what he thinks about what just happened. As Alex Moss, it's Josh Mertz in the commentary box. Not sure if you can hear us. You got us? We'll give him a sec here. And if not, we will...
Yeah.
As hello,
There
sir. I have a couple of my buddies here, and they would like to know, we'll start off with Victor Valley, not to put you on the spot, Vic, what was going through your mind during that LCQ? And I'm sure Vic's got more questions, but we watched, and you went from, like, third to first.
Well, I am a little beginner here, and well, I started last, and sincerely, I don't think to finish in first position. So, well, I am a little bit surprised because, well, I decided to do in the first lap the Joker, and then, well, simply doing laps, but I don't know what happened ahead of me, and I say, well, perfect. I don't know.
Yeah, and I believe you kept your nose clean most of the race here. Was that your philosophy going in? It was just to stay out of trouble and just keep it clean?
Yeah, I just think that I only want to do a clean race, and well, I am just here for to learn for the most fastest drivers of here.
There's a lot of fast drivers out there, so to say you're going to learn a lot here in the feature. So I think we're going to go ahead and let you get back to it here in the warm-up. So best of luck to you in the feature event.
Well, I would like to have a little bit luck in the field. I am a little bit scared.
All I have to say, my friend, before I let you go, I think the phrase is baptism by fire here in the United States. The fact that you were thrown in and you made the final in this tough of a grid, I'll put it to you this way. I didn't make many finals on iRacing, so to do that, that's an accomplishment. Well done, my friend. Good luck in the final.
Thank you so much. See ya.
Yeah, Josh, you can hear him just noticeably out of breath. You can tell that was a hard-fought victory for him, but, you know, Victor, to your point, you know, just kind of, you know, was it his intention to run clean laps? Of course it is. You know, when you're in that position, you watch those guys go, and, you know, you don't have the best start, but, you know, that you can just run consistent laps. Sometimes that pays off in the long run.
Yeah, and, you know, as much as I hate to admit it, my philosophy sometimes in those LCQs wasn't to run hard laps. It was just to put a lot more pressure on the guys that were in those LCQs trying to make it into the final for the point situation. I remember a couple of times in the LCQ where I'd be facing off against Cody Erdman, for example, and just put a bunch of pressure on him, and sometimes it would force him into a mistake. And not saying that Cody's not a good driver, because he definitely is, but it all came down to putting pressure on those drivers, and this time he didn't even have to put any pressure on those guys in front of him. They just imploded on their own.
Yeah, and these LCQs, I mean, it's the equivalent of cutting your teeth with Smoky Bars in, you know, like Nashville, Tennessee. You got to prove your worth. You got to be able to show the big dogs why your name is deserved to be mentioned, and he just did a perfect job of that.
Absolutely.
As we get ready to grid, I like this plan where you guys take over the warm-up and I don't say anything during the warm-up. It really rests my vocal cords, and my fiance would really appreciate that I don't shout for another session. But we get ready for our feature race here in Norway. We're going to take a look if this grid graphic works. I have no idea if it's going to work, so we're going to click the button and we're going to see if it works. Oh, it does! I think. Robertson, pole position in car number 22. Magnus Okenhaug, Sindre Silva, Jacob Rafos. This graphic does work as Jacob Harberts, Ray Kingsbury, Johas Vanen, Austin Derbyshire, Matt Hartley, and Alex Moss. 10 cars, gentlemen, 10 laps. Remember, 2 jokers. I really can't predict who's going to win this race.
You know, I mean, it's just going to be a free-for-all here.
Getting ready for round number 1 of the 2020B NASA RallyCross Challenge season, live on the Automotive Sports Network. 10 cars, 10 laps, 2 jokers. Anything can happen here in Norway. It's green flag racing as Robertson gets a great jump off the line. Robertson and Hartley into turn number 1. Jokering on the first lap is Silva in the 63, along with Hartley, along with Kingsbury. They make contact there in the back of the shot. As I'll try and pick them up. As one car off, it's Derbyshire.
And I believe Harbert's jumped the start there. He had a false start, and that caught out Hartley as well, I think.
As it looks like from race control, there was a black flag cleared.
Yeah, that was a cleared black flag to Harbert's there. So I guess it was a no harm, no foul situation there for Harbert's. He's going to be able to continue on. No problem there.
Robertson leads at the end of the first lap. It is written in the regulations that if you jump the start but don't gain any time, your black flag will be cleared. So that is why there is no issue here regarding that. As Rafos in second, Okenhaug, Vanen, Harbert, Silva, Hartley, Kingsbury, Moss, Derbyshire.
Magnus just really sending it right now. He's trying to get every inch that he can.
As we take a look.
Just got ahead.
At the 26.
Just got ahead of that huge pack behind him there. I think we got about 3 or 4 cars almost under a blanket here, going all the way back to Matt Hartley.
As Hartley in car number 1, currently in 7th, now make it 6th as he goes through turn number 1. 2.7 seconds from Robertson to Rafos. And there's an opportunity that has not been broken yet of a driver winning more than the first race consecutively in a season. On board Sindre Silva, the front bumper of car number 63. A very nice view of the side of car number 80 into the final corner.
You know, and Josh, can we break a record for the amount of Jakes we could have in the top 5?
I didn't realize what you were talking about until I realized that, as it's a Jacob affair on the podium with Robertson, Rafos, and Harbert.
This is all. We should just call this the Jake Challenge.
As the top 3 have not jokered, Okenhaug has not jokered, it looks like, according to timing. But we'll have to take a look as we get close to lap number 5.
Yeah, I was going to say we got the Christ Cup over there. I've heard of that one, so I think this might be the Jacob Cup here. So
as we take lap 5, 3.6, 3.7, 3.8. It kept going up every time I talked about it between Robertson and Rafos. As Rafos jokers, I believe, will put Harbert's into 2nd. I stand corrected, that was the other SDK car. It was Silva.
Yeah, and our 3rd through 5th, they're under a napkin, basically. Getting a little bit of separation going on. We'll see if the strategy can play out.
We take a look at Harbert's and Okenhaug for just a moment, then back to Silva in the 63. And there's Vanen in the 7, in position number 7. Crossed flags for Robertson in the 22, considerably out and away from the rest of the field. Jokering is Rafos. On board Harbert's. Rafos battling Harbert's. This is for 2nd. The gap now is 8, nearly 9 seconds from Robertson to Rafos. To the inside of Harbert's goes Okenhaug here. So much going on, I can't keep up.
Yeah, the Magnus effect kicking in again there.
As one car into the wall, it sounded like no harm, no foul. We'll take a look at Jake Robertson way up front. It's almost like a race that me or Philip Kraus would have run back on NASCAR 2003. You forget you're racing against some people because it's a clear track.
Yeah, this is definitely what those guys want. Just trying to log some clean laps here and make no mistakes.
he's out and about by about over, I believe, let me go ahead and check timing scoring here, 8 seconds now. And he's ran the fastest lap by over 3/10 of a second, and that was on lap 5, 1:36.1.
I'll have you know, I have the live timing on our monitor here. He gained 1.5 seconds in 1 lap. So,
and we have a great battle going on here, mid-tag, between Hartley, Sindre, and Harbert's.
There's nearly 10 seconds from Robertson to Rafos. Something's going to have to go wrong for that top 2 to get a little bit messed up. Okenhaug jokers in the 26. He takes the 3rd spot from Silva.
And Harbert's just sending it in.
So it looks like Rafos, if we can find Rafos, he's still in second. He's 4 seconds ahead of Ogenhaug. So this is a battle really for third. We take 2 laps to go for Robertson. He
Hartley
starts
has
to
gone
joke.
wide. He has given that spot back to Harberts. And he's in the wall.
Hartley, defending champion, way off the track in car number 1. And Indivananen in the 7.
You know, and really the big winner out of that whole battle there was the Kingsbury of Ray. And gonna separate himself from that little gaggle.
7.5 seconds from Robertson to Rafos. Again, I don't think the battle is going to be for the race lead. Silva gets by Okenhaug, and Magnus trying so hard to get on the podium at his home track.
You know, Josh, every point matters here. It doesn't matter if it's the win sometimes. It's all a points game here.
As he got close, but he couldn't make it happen. We take the white flag for Jake Robertson. I went to go take a look, but both of them already jokered. We'll have to take a look. Is this going to be a battle for third still? It will be, as Robertson and Rafos out and away from the rest of the field.
You know, Magnus really trying to make something happen on Silva here.
As we'll have my colleagues take a look and take a gander and have a talking to our race winner. Robertson wins the season opener ahead of Jacob Rafos. So like I said, I think he's the youngest podium sitter in NASCAR Rallycross history. The 13-year-old comes home in second, and Silva will beat out Okenhaug at his home track for third.
Yeah, Josh, lots of great things to talk about here in this post-race.
Give a call to Alex Moss. P7, he beat the reigning champion, Matt Hartley, who had a absolutely abysmal lap 9, I believe, there, and has some contact with a couple other cars in the wall. So, unfortunate result for Hartley, but Alex Moss, as you said, baptism by fire here, and he's proved that he's actually belongs with some of the best drivers in this series.
As Robertson, Rafos, Silva, our podium, Okenhaug, Kingsbury, Harberts, Moss, Vanen, Hartley, and Derbyshire through to 10th.
And we got some good tandem drifting. I hope our ASN crew's catching this. Around there in the little roundabout.
Yeah, there we go.
Moftah 11th, Rosales 13th, Brokaw 15th, 17th Keene, and 19th will be Lambert. And then the even drivers through the seed, 12th down the order, Kingsbury, Micus, Seymour, Ragster, Feldman, and DeRozier. Now, given the fact that I'm still learning this program, the points are really the same as the results. So red plate, we were talking about it earlier, Jake Robertson. Speaking of, we'll have Mr. Dylan Livergood have a chat with our race winner. As Jake Robertson, it's the boys up in the ASN commentary box. What a boring race almost, really.
It definitely wasn't boring. I mean, I was talking to the guys behind me the entire time. They were having a very intense battle. I was just trying to help them through it, and they definitely pulled through.
Yeah, you know, and Jake, one of the biggest questions that I have is that a distraction when all of that mess is going on behind you and all you're trying to do is win a race?
Not really. I try and keep my eyes forward in these races, especially when you're leading and you have a bit of a margin. You can really try and focus on your own driving.
You know, and if you compare this race from last season's race, I mean, I would assume you're a lot more happy with the results this time around.
Oh yeah, we got a little bit unlucky at Hell last time, so this season it was a lot better.
So yeah, Jake going from Hell to a Hell Razor there. Victor, you got any questions for a race winner?
Honestly, I mean, I don't have any questions because it's just such a dominating performance by I just got to give a tip of the cap to you for how amazingly dominant it was.
Cheers.
As we will bring in our second place man, Jacob Rafos. As Jacob Rafos, it's Josh Mertz up in the commentary box, Dylan Livergood, Victor Valley. I remember, this is going to make me sound old, okay? I remember when I was your age and I'm racing, and I'm sim racing, I'm getting so excited, but I was not as talented as you. I just want to say that.
Yep.
As Victor, you want to
Yeah.
question our
Yeah,
second place man?
Say, man, you had a hell of a performance there. Held off charge from Magnus Hokenhog, Ciandre, and even Jacob Harbers at one point. How did you battle those guys and keep yourself on track for performance? I mean, obviously, it seems like you've been doing this for quite a while now, so it seems like you might have this a little bit better under control than I did.
Yeah, playing this game along, but I was just trying to do my own thing and do some team tactics with those others and doing good laps and stuffs and yeah, trying to hold my position.
So you did a very good job at that. I was gonna say the pressure definitely did not look like it got to you one bit. So did you have any kind of issues throughout the race? Because it looked like you had almost in a completely clean race there.
Yeah, I was none issues there. I just had a clean race with no damage on my car and yeah, that was all.
So
As-
coming home second tonight here. I was gonna say sorry to cut you off there, Dylan. So you got anyone to thank for this result here?
Yeah, no problem.
As Dylan, you got anything for our second place man?
Yeah. I mean, I just wanted to ask Jacob. I mean, most of your experiences outside of the NASA Sim Racing League, coming into this series, did you feel like there was anything that was gonna potentially hold you back, or going through some of these heat races? Did you feel like there were certain challenges, um, that you faced here over other series, or was it just pretty routine for you?
Yeah, this is quite late for me at the moment. I'm sitting up. Right now it's 4 a.m. in Norway,
Oh,
so that's I will not. I think I will not be able to run the second run in NASA because the school starts and yeah.
well, I mean, we'd love to have you back here in the NASA Sim
Yeah,
Racing Challenge. I mean, it was good to see you put on a show for all of our fans here watching on the ASN network, and hopefully we see you soon.
yeah. See you soon.
Yeah, cheers, mate.
Yeah, cheers.
You are condoning a 13-year-old staying up until 4 in the morning? I thought you were
You
a
know,
terrible human being before.
hey, man, it takes dedication. I don't know where his parents are at. I mean, it might be time to go to bed, but
Oh my gosh,
The
shades of
Norwegians eat.
Scotty McLaughlin.
They eat, sleep, and breathe race cars over there. Anyways, Sindre Silva,
Which-
third place. Dylan Livingood, it is your job. Sindre, hello, my friend. You survived that crazy final. I'm gonna shut up, Dylan. It's all you.
Yeah, Sindre there, a Hornet's Nest. What was it like beating fenders with those guys?
For real, like that tactic we came up with before the final was just mega for all the team. And when we saw Magnus was so close to us there, I actually second to last lap I was shaking the braking foot when I come around the second to last corner. So it was frustrating, but also a fun fight with Magnus there. He got a slowdown, so that was not good for him, but for the team Apex Racing Academy, that was just brilliant. 1, 2, 3. We couldn't hope for anything better, to be honest.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a great position to be in. As a team, and even as a driver, because like we were talking about here on the broadcast, every point and position counts. Do you think you were a little bit frustrated with the guys who you're battling with, because you might have been able to make up some time with those guys up in front? Or I could just hear you giggling in your voice. It sounds like you had fun.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the only thing when we came up with the strat that I should go Joker the first lap because I was on the outside, it worked out. But for sure, you are getting behind people that are slower than you, and you will need to try to overtake them. And on this track, it's really hard to overtake anyone. But I think we managed it pretty good. But yeah, I could have jokered the second Joker lap maybe a little bit faster, but yeah, that's how it is, and I'm just happy that we got 1, 2, 3. That's all that matter, to be honest.
Yeah, huge congrats to you guys. Victor, you got anything for our third place?
Well, I was gonna say, I mean, obviously, we were just talking about the team tactics there. This looks like it's paid off for you guys. any kind of issues with the Volkswagen at all, or was that the car of choice going into this?
To be honest, that was actually Jake's pick, the car. We have driven in the World Championship qualifier, and then we have driven the Volkswagen a lot. So we felt confident with the car, and it showed that it's fast around those tracks. So I think we'll be competitive through the season. And as you see, many of our drivers will not attend because of school and things getting back to normal. So yeah, it's we will see what happens, but I think we'll be out there.
Yeah,
with the car.
absolutely. Proving Josh Mertz wrong on his call a couple races ago, a couple seasons ago, saying that the Volkswagen was a non-competitive car. Now you guys have swept the podium. Congrats on a third place finish there, Sindre. Do you have anyone to thank for this result?
Apex Racing Academy. To be honest, those guys have helped a lot. Jake Robertson, John Robertson, and everyone in that team have helped out. Pretty much the pace we have now is thanks to them, and also, yeah, Jake. He has done a lot of work with the setups and everything.
You know, I didn't realize, I knew that they were teammates because I wrote the spreadsheet, but I completely forgot in the heat of the moment. That's the second time in NASA RallyCross Challenge history that a team has swept the podium. The only other time was me, Erdman, and Hagenstein at Riverside, but let's not talk about that. So, but the second time that happened, and those guys had such a control on this race, no pun intended, because their other team names, no control, but the fact of the matter that these three guys are going for the World Championship, trying to qualify for that, I think even if it was those three guys in like a Mercedes-style situation, I'd be completely entertained with it. Because I'm not racing and I'm not 2 seconds slower, but let's not talk about that.
Well, and then, Josh, it's also incredible to see the diversity between teammates. I mean, we had 3 separate interviews there. All gave 3 separate answers and all had the same amount of fun. But they're all overcoming their own challenges and figuring out how to overcome the NASA RallyCross challenge. I mean, it's a lot different than the World Championship Series is.
As any closing thoughts, Vic?
I mean, honestly, I got here late, but I still saw one hell of a show here. Everybody involved in this was absolutely amazing. Volkswagen 1, 2, 3. I said, Josh, what do you think about that, man?
It's a different change. I'm so sick and tired. I love my Subarus, love them, but I'm so sick and tired of seeing Subaru win. It is such a relief, I guess.
Well, yeah, when you remove the best 2 driving Subarus out of the field.
Are you talking about me and you? Definitely not talking about me and you. Anyways, gentlemen, let's roll our outro music here. As what a race here in Norway next week. If this week was any indication, and I say this, every single week, but the fact of the matter that the live shows, that I had so much fun today. Next week, Daytona Long will have a live show there. Round 3, want to give a heads up, Round 3 will not have a live show. That is going to be delayed on the Automotive Sports Network. It's Miss Chloe's birthday, so of course I will not be here. Unless one of you fine gentlemen want to take care of it, but that'll be a meeting after the race. But from all of us here at the Automotive Sports Network, Victor Valley, Dylan Livinggood, Dylan Bonney helped us with our ASN website. Apex Racing 1, 2, 3. Congratulations to them, and we will see you next week in Daytona. But until then, so long, everyone.